to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about these cars, and I just want to talk about car culture in general. And of course, with everything we got going on, especially up here with Canada, and what's going on, and I don't want to get too political, but politics, everything else, this whole car thing can be a little scary. And I mean, this whole China relations thing and all the parts, I mean, I can't imagine that black truck, guys, and I'm being 100% honest right now, all the parts that are from China on it, from the Sushi Slicer Turbo to the radiator and stuff. But I mean, good or bad, I wanted to say a couple things about that in this video. I also want to say a couple things about the cars we build. The cars that I build are some of them are show quality, but they're not Chip Foose quality, Kindig quality. They're what I would call Alberta show quality cars, these better ones, and the other ones, they're drivers. And I want to talk more about that, like China parts and stuff like that, that has made it so that, thanks to, as much as, yes, I have my reservations too about the LS and a turbo, and you can go do amazing things if you want to race, and you can do amazing things, you know, in general. You can make something that's great to drive, thanks to the onset of 4L60Es and 4L80s and controllers and stuff like that. That's why this whole thing, to listen to it and taking a step back for our industry really sucks, because, you know, I'm going to go over something that bugged me for a lot of years, and some people are going to have stuff to say about it, some aren't. Years ago, everything had to be this pristine car, it seemed like, to go to a car show. It had to be this glamorous, polished penny or nickel, quarter, dime, loony, toonie. Half you Americans don't even know what that is. Anyway, that, you know, all these, and I'm going to use a bad word here, guys, and I know I'm going to take flack over it, but gray hairs used to be like, oh, everything's got to be original, and everything's got to be this, and everything's got to be that, and I hated it. It took young people and it discouraged them from building cars, wanting to build cars, especially in Canada. The culture up here is dying so much, guys, it's unbelievable. But part of it was that mentality that we couldn't accept, or, you know, that generation or a lot of people couldn't accept these cars for being what they are. I think some of this stuff that these guys are building today, where, yeah, it's a little ratty and it's a little whatever, as long as it's safe, I don't see a problem with it. I really don't. And, you know, I think we got to embrace that more and more, because that's how car culture is going to live, because it's not the 50s and the 60s no more, where, I'm going to use the word gray hairs, even though now I'm a gray hair, you know, grew up and they got to do everything with the car, but they also got to dictate somewhat to what car culture was in some ways. And when they got a little bit older, they wanted what seemed like the more pristine cars to go to shows, and it discouraged a lot of guys, especially in my era, from showing their car if it wasn't, you know, perfect. And guys, I don't think we want that as a car culture. We want what little we have left in Canada to be saved, and know that driver quality cars and cars that are unique because they're a little ratty and a little different are being, you know, seen today. Like I said, this stuff takes a lot of work and a lot of money, and I don't build Chip Foose and high-end quality cars. Some of these cars are pretty nice. Some of them will show pretty good, don't get me wrong. But I would much rather drive that Galaxy or that truck I have, even though for me it's getting a little ratty. But on the other hand, I'm not afraid to drive it. I'm not afraid to race it. I'm not afraid to take it to Michigan and go have fun with it. And I think that's more and more what car culture needs to be about. I think we need to get young people involved. You know, we have to figure out a way so that they embrace it a little more. I know financially, a lot of young people have had a tough time. And, you know, there's a million different reasons why people say they are, and we're not getting into that on this channel. Just know I have a son too, and, you know, I think there's times he would really love to embrace car culture, but he's struggled as a 28, 29-year-old just to succeed in life and what that looks like and have anything. That's why in today's day and age, I look at it, guys, through all my ups and downs and everything else, I'm super fortunate to be here today and be able to do this and, you know, somewhat now be able to do this YouTube thing with you guys. And, you know, I want everybody to know that. And I want young people to realize putting a bunch of Chinese, cheaper parts, we're going to call them, we're not necessarily going to call them bad parts, on something isn't a bad thing. Going out and showing it and having fun with it like I used to when we were young, that's what this is all about. That's what needs to happen. It doesn't need to be about the huge dollar stuff, guys. A lot of people say just build your shit and drive it. I believe that. Just build something, drive it, have some fun with it. And like I said, I hope that in the future car culture in general gets better. I know it still exists. If I go to a big show, there's a lot of cars. Just, you know, let's not discourage the ones that aren't perfect, guys, because they take a lot of work. Guy up the road from me, who has a YouTube channel, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't know if I can and whatnot. But I mean, he just went on Miles of Mayhem with a car that, man, back 30 years ago, people would have really questioned what he was doing with it. It's got a few too many doors for even me and whatnot, but he had the time of his life, and by the looks of it. So, you know, if we want this culture to live, guys, that's what we got to do. We got to embrace the whole thing. The good, the bad, the ugly, the Chinese. Just remember, guys, how many castings that have American made in the USA names on them are casted in China, because shy of a couple of foundries and whatnot, and think how much aluminum gets bought in Saskatchewan and places like that, where, you know, and stuff just gets passed around. I'm not saying we have to be all you know, globalist, but the reality is, guys, the LS platform, stuff like that, wouldn't be here today without some of those parts. And I really hope the car culture gets to continue on. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it today, and my little bit of a rant talking about this stuff. Like I said, guys, the cars we build here, you're going to see they're different qualities of cars, they're different types of cars, but ultimately, you know, they're all the same. I grew up in a time in the early 90s when I got involved with all of this, where, yeah, there was still a lot of, you know, really nice, shiny stuff out there. A lot of guys that have worked hard. A lot of guys that really, you know, everything looked like a penny, shined up. And, you know, it doesn't need to be that way anymore. We just need to embrace the culture, guys, and hopefully it'll keep it alive for future generations so these cars don't die. Because the one thing we do know is that they want these cars to die, and I don't want to see that. It's like this car here. I'm working on this car because this car goes back a long ways. It's got a lot of history, a lot of people. It's something that my dad, years ago at the time, was kind of working at the Ford dealer when these come out. So like I said, guys, we need to embrace the whole thing if we want to keep it going. And I hope a lot of guys realize that. I hope a lot of guys realize that the only way we're going to be able to do that is to get some of these young kids interested. And the only way they're going to be able to do it is with brace some of these cheaper parts that, you know, people can afford. Especially up here, guys, where it's minus 20 half the year. I can assure you, it's minus 20 right now outside and 3 inches of snow. So, like I said, that's my 2 cents on the whole thing. So, this hood belongs to a 64.5 Mustang that I have here that I've been working on for a bunch of years, and that part of it we're not really interested in getting into. It's just I've been working on it for a lot of years. And this hood here is a Drake Scott hood. It's not the greatestly straight hood. It's not the greatest hood, in my opinion, at all. But we've done a lot of work to it, and over a year ago, I re-cleared this hood, and actually I painted it, and the clear on it screwed up. It wrinkled for some reason or whatever. This car is one of those cars that has seen a bit of water, a bit of solvent. This is also the car that's in the intro. The rest of the car is done. It is all painted back in solvent today. But this is one of those cars where I had to change paint as I went along on it a few times. Now, yes, that's time-based related, and if you were doing this and you were getting these cars done as quickly as possible, this wouldn't happen. But still the same, it threw us a bunch of curveballs along the way. So, like I said, that being said, we're limited to products in Canada. We're limited to all kinds of stuff. But from here on out, and for a while we were using Omni Plus paint. We were having good luck with it, but unfortunately we had a supplier that changed their mind that that's what they wanted to have. And again, we didn't know where we wanted to go. I knew I kind of wanted to use PPG, and that's where we are today with Shopline, and I'm pretty sure that the supplier is very stable and we won't have to worry about a lot of things. But that being said, we're fixing this car. Unfortunately, sitting around here for as long as it had a little mark at the back we had to repair, and we're going to re-clear this. But like I said, this is a Drake Scott hood. It's probably been primed about 3 or 4 times and blocked, and it took that much to get it to the point where it is today and fairly straight. And like I said, unfortunately, then we went to paint it and we had some issues. And like I said, it was discouraging. A lot of this stuff has discouraged me over the years with everything that's gone on in the paint industry, and then COVID came along, and we don't even want to talk about that because that's just a whole new thing that will piss me off, and ultimately, you know, everybody had to deal with it. So, this trunk lid over here, behind me, it is an original Ford 1964.5 trunk lid. Unfortunately, the clear did the same thing on it. It wrinkled, and yeah, we gotta fix it too. So we'll fix all this stuff on this car, and we'll get it taken care of. And ultimately, hopefully, now things have stabilized a whole bunch in the world, and everything will be good again, and we'll be able to continue on with these cars. And like I said, I want to take you guys along the way for this journey, but this is one of the things that I'll bet you a lot of cars, a lot of people got discouraged on them and stuff like that because of, excuse me guys, I got to talk to Kit Kitty. This is Kit Kitty. This is the shop kitty. This is my kitty, and unfortunately around here, to deal with mice and stuff, we got to make sure we have cats. And Kit Kitty is very spoiled, and Kit Kitty wants all my attention. So, Kit, Dad's busy and you can't go up there. No. So, anyway, there's the other kitty. That kitty's Roo Kitty. So we're going to cut this video short because obviously we got cat issues. So, anyway, without further ado and whatnot, we'll continue on sanding these. We'll do a time lapse with you guys on this stuff, and then I'll introduce this car. And I think some of you have already seen it in the intro video, and we'll get it all together, and that will be the end of that. So, anyway, thanks for coming along this journey with me. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and guys, subscribe. I need all the help I can get. And the other thing too, we got to, hopefully we'll be registered for Miles of Michigan, February the 15th in the morning, and that means the Galaxy will be making the trip. So, can't wait to do that, guys. Kind of a thing on the bucket list. We got a couple other things we got to deal with too, and some more projects. And that's the other thing, guys. Projects on this channel. We got a bunch coming. We got a bunch outside that eventually here I'll get outside to show you. 66 GM pickup we're gonna do. I'm hoping to do that actually with Jake, and we'll probably do something real cool with it. And we've got outside a 48 Dodge Coupe, two-door coupe, and we've got a 07 Dodge truck that we can use for the guts. So we're kind of hoping to do a Gen 3 Hemi gasser with that and bring you guys along. The two projects we obviously have here that are, you know, big deal to me are the Galaxy and the truck, and then this 64.5 as we get going on it. And yeah, there's one more car in the shop, but as time progresses, we'll get going on. We'll figure that out and we'll introduce it to the channel one day. But anyway, guys, like I said, we want to build some stuff. We want to do some stuff. And I could really use some help around here. And there's one thing I want everybody to understand. Right now, I'm a one-man show again. I don't even have an apprentice here right now. So in time, I hope we can get some guys here a little bit more to help out. You will see an introduction probably to Jay this weekend, because he's going to be here to do some work, and then we'll go from there. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate everything, and I just thought we'd have a quick talk about this, and thank you very much. Mike out.